District, and they are Commissioner Kim Ward and Dr. Tony Bompiani. And the next question goes to Dr. Bompiani, and it relates to the previous question about health care. And it's about consumer protection. And the question is, would you support or oppose the creation of an insurance consumer advocate?
Oh, you know, our health commission or insurance commission in Pennsylvania is already overburdened, and the fraud that's going on and the discrepancies that are happening with bills and people getting paid are driving up our health care costs itself, driving up insurance rates. And I'm not so sure that insurance companies, as I just told you a minute ago about malpractice and how it works, I'm not so sure that insurance companies are that excited to go out and find people who are committing fraud or go out and find people that are abusing the system, because again, that raises rates. And they can tack on whatever they want, proving that they've had to pay frivolous cases or malpractice or fraudulent cases. So we need to get some type of control, and putting that type of regulation under the Attorney General's office. It works now with the PUC, and I think that it would be a good thing to do, be more specific. It would help us root out the problems. And any cost that it would incur by putting it into the government hands, by putting it with the Attorney General's office, would be realized by a decrease in our premiums and a decrease in insurance costs, just because we decreased the amount of fraudulent claims that are being made.
Thank you. Commissioner?
I absolutely support consumer advocacy. I would support any position that helps the public know what they have, what's available to help them and to protect them. And not only that, I, as a state senator, would be a consumer advocate myself.
Okay, thank you. All right. The next question concerns a problem that has been growing, at least in our concern, and that is, should this use of cell phones while driving be made illegal? This goes to Commissioner Ward first.
Well, that's an interesting question. Yes, I would vote for that. You know, I know right now, as I'm driving along with some of the folks that are driving me around, as they're texting and talking on the phone and swerving, it makes you very nervous. Absolutely. That would be a safety issue, just like seatbelts are a safety issue, and just like you can't drink and drive or do drugs and drive or be on medication and you have to take a driver's license. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I definitely agree that it is a safety issue, and I definitely agree that we need to have restrictions on that, because it is dangerous, and attention needs to be paid. I mean, a vehicle can be a dangerous weapon too if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. So I would agree with that.
Okay. I think that to make sure that we have time to fit in our closing statements before the time runs out for our hour, I'm going to ask each of the candidates to maybe give a summary of their positions so far this morning. And then you'll each have 3 minutes to do that. And if we have any time left over before the end of the hour, maybe we'll go back and take one more question.
Okay.
Okay, so we would start, I guess, with Kim Ward again.
Sure. Okay, again, thank you very much for having me here this morning. It's a very interesting and good thing to get out and talk to the public and to hear what your questions may be. You know, I'm out knocking on doors and meeting folks, and I get questions at the doors, but they're always individually tailored. So this was very interesting. Again, I'm just going to reiterate that I am not going to raise taxes. I never have raised taxes, and I do believe that when you take money out of people's pockets, that they have less money to go out and buy things and to keep our economy moving. I truly believe the state's $28 billion budget, there are things that can be cut. It's never, the government doesn't have enough of your money, it's that they spend too much of it. And they spend it on things that they want to because they can, which is why I go back to my referendum, and I believe that we need to have a hard referendum. I also believe in transparency and accountability in government, and I believe you do not have accountability if you do not have transparency. People need to be able to see exactly what their money, not the legislators' money, is being spent on. So thank you very much again. Thank you, and I hope you all have a great day.
appreciate so much for being here. I appreciate so much you taking the time to come out of your day and listen to us speak. And I too is knocking on doors and meeting people. That's been the most exciting thing about this campaign. The way the campaign's turned the last 4 weeks, not exciting at all. And I apologize to all of you. I apologize to all of you for the garbage that's coming into your mailboxes and the garbage that's coming into your living rooms. I never wanted to be a part of that, but you know what? To make a difference and to get to Harrisburg so that we can change it, I have to be a part of that. And I'll tell you what, we have to control the amount of money that is spent on these elections. It's unconscionable. Our economic strife is well documented. AIG bailed out for how many hundreds of millions of dollars or billions? And then they go on a $500,000 junket with your dollars. It's disgusting. Just as disgusting are the Republicans and Democrats that are spending $2 million on this election and filling your mailboxes in your living room. It's disgusting. Forums like this would be wonderful. We would just have forums for every election and a cap on spending. We could take all that money and we could give it back to the people. We could give it back to people in electric help, in utility help in the wintertime. Nobody would have to go without the heat. I'll repeat it again. I don't need a job. I'm going to do a job. I will never, ever make you a promise that I can't keep. You all know how hard it is to run your budget at home. I don't think any of you would look at me and say you will never increase your spending. How anyone can make the assumption that they will, or the promise they will never increase your taxes. Legislators, school board members are all elected to be your watchdog, the best that they can do. They take on the hard job, the hard decisions, and they make those. To have hard referendums where you make the decision, we don't need school board members.
We have time left over, and so we were going to be taking more questions, and we'll just run in through the end of the hour answering questions. The next audience written question concerns potholes and bridges, the crumbling infrastructure of Pennsylvania. Is this a perennial problem, and what can be done about it? And that's what first goes to Dr. Bompiani.
Thank you, Dr. Kay. It is a problem. And as I see it, it's a problem that's in government, and it's called shell game. In your budget, you foresee ahead when you may have to put a new roof on, when you may have to do some repairs to your infrastructure, and you save for those rainy days, and you prepare for those, and you have ways of paying for it. In government, it doesn't matter what it is. They pay for it, find a way to fund it then later. And things that are in place, such as the gasoline tax or tolls, they're given other things, taken out of here, taken out of there. They're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it's called a shell game. They tack on their own things, their own special interests, and they move them. And I would contend that those monies were going where they're intended to go, that we would be a lot better off with roads and bridges. Gaming revenue is supposed to go all to property tax relief. How are we building the Penguin Stadium? I don't understand. I don't believe in gaming revenue as a property tax relief for school districts. I don't like tying gaming to education at all. But if it's going to be there, put it where they told you it was going to be. This is the shell game that's being played. It's played with our infrastructure as well. The turnpike. Governor Rendell wants to lease your turnpike. He wants to lease it to a foreign company. Does that make sense? No. We've broken the back of our unions. Now we want a foreign company to buy our road and break the back of another union to save money. You know what? If they can make a profit and they want this so bad to pay this money, why can't we turn a profit? Mismanagement? The shell game? We need watchdogs to go to Harrisburg. We need to get there. And we need to be held accountable to make sure they're held accountable for your tax dollars. Then we'll have some relief with our infrastructure.
Thank you. Commissioner Ward?
Sure. I don't believe anybody in this room or anywhere would agree with Governor Rendell on leasing the turnpike or selling the turnpike to a foreign country. That is an abomination. But as for the transportation and our crumbling roads, you know, as a county commissioner and as a supervisor, I saw first